My name is Helen. I am a quiet woman, and I do not talk much about my past. People in the village think I am strange. They talk about me and my little boy. They say I am proud and cold. But they do not know my story. They do not know why I came to Wildfell Hall. Wildfell Hall is an old, dark house on the edge of the village. It is large but cold, and the wind makes strange sounds at night. When I first came here, I wanted peace. I wanted a safe place for my son, Arthur. He is only 5 years old. He has soft brown hair and bright eyes. He is my reason to live. I did not come to Wildfell Hall to make friends. I only wanted to paint and care for my child. I paint pictures of nature. It helps me forget the pain of my old life. I sell my paintings to earn money for food and clothes. It is not easy, but I am free. The people in the village did not understand me. They had never seen a woman live alone with a small child. Some women whispered about me when I passed by. Some said I ran away from my husband. Others said I was not married at all. I did not explain anything. I only smiled and went home. One man, Gilbert Markham, lived near my house. He was a farmer. He often passed by and said hello. He was kind and curious. At first, I did not speak much to him, but he was friendly to my son, and soon he began to visit us. He brought books for me and small gifts for Arthur. Gilbert liked to talk, and he asked many questions. He wanted to know why I lived alone. I told him little. I said only that my husband was far away and that I did not wish to speak about him. Gilbert did not press me. He saw that it made me sad. Over time, we became friends. Gilbert was gentle and honest. He liked my paintings and said they were beautiful. When he visited, I felt a little less lonely. Arthur also liked him. Sometimes they played outside while I painted by the window. I liked to see them together. But people in the village began to notice Gilbert's visits. They started to gossip again. They said it was wrong for a young man to visit a woman who lived alone. Some said I was trying to steal him from another girl. I felt hurt but stayed silent. I had learned that silence keeps peace, even when people are cruel. One evening, Gilbert came to see me when the rain was heavy. He was wet and tired, but he wanted to talk. He said, "Helen, I do not care what people say. I only want to know you better." I looked at him for a long time. I wanted to trust him, but I was afraid. My heart had been broken once before. I could not let it happen again. That night, after he left, I could not sleep. I thought about my past. I thought about my husband, Arthur Huntingdon. When I married him, I was young and full of dreams. He was handsome, charming, and full of life. Everyone liked him. I thought he was kind and good. I thought I would be happy forever. But I was wrong. In the beginning, our life was sweet. We laughed, we danced, we talked about our future. He called me his angel and said he would love me forever. I believed him. I left my home and family to be with him. My aunt told me to be careful, but I did not listen. I thought love was enough. After some time, I began to see a change in my husband. He started to drink too much wine. He went out with friends who laughed at me and at my quiet ways. They said I was too serious. My husband stopped listening to me. He stayed out late and came home drunk. At first, I hoped it would pass. I thought he was just young and wild. But it became worse. He spent money carelessly. He invited bad friends to our house. They drank all night and said things that made me blush. I stayed in my room with my baby, trying to keep him safe. When my husband came home drunk, he sometimes shouted at me. Other times he laughed and ignored me. My heart began to grow cold. I tried to help him. I begged him to stop drinking and to think about his son. I told him Arthur needed a good father, but he only laughed. He said, "You are too serious, Helen. Life is for pleasure." He did not see the pain he caused. Years passed, and his bad habits grew stronger. He started to be cruel, not only to me, but to others. He taught our little boy to drink wine just for fun. When I saw that, I felt my heart break. I could not let him destroy our child. I knew I had to leave. But in those days, a woman could not easily leave her husband. The law did not protect her. I prayed every night for help. I asked God for strength and wisdom. Then, one night, when my husband was away, I made a plan. I would take my son and leave. I would find a quiet place where no one knew me. I would earn my living by painting. We would live in peace, even if we were poor. When the chance came, I left before dawn. I took only what I needed: my paints, my brushes, and my child. I looked back at the big house once more and whispered goodbye. It was not my home anymore. It was a prison I had escaped. When I arrived at Wildfell Hall, it was empty and old, but it felt safe. The walls were gray, the air was cold, but I was free. My son laughed and ran around the dusty rooms. I smiled through my tears. It was not a grand place, but it was ours. And that is how I came to this lonely house on the hill. People think I am strange. They think I am proud. But they do not know that every day I wake up with one thought: to give my son a better life than the one I had. And now, as I look at the world outside my window, I wonder if peace will last. I wonder if the truth of my past will stay hidden, or will someone, maybe Gilbert, force me to open my heart again. Before I continue rest of the story, Please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. Days passed quietly at Wildfell Hall. I painted, I taught my son, and I tried to forget my past, but Gilbert came often. He brought small gifts for Arthur and sat near the fire while I painted. I liked his calm voice and his kind eyes. He never judged me, and that made me feel safe. One day, he came with a letter in his hand. He looked upset. He said, "People in the village talk about you again. They say you are hiding something. They say your husband is dead." I stopped painting. I looked at him and said quietly, "My husband is not dead." His eyes widened, but I did not say more. He wanted to ask questions, but he saw that I was tired. He left soon after, and I sat alone for a long time. I knew people would never stop talking. I had to tell Gilbert the truth before lies became stronger than the truth itself. A few days later, I sent him a note. I wrote, "Please come tomorrow. I will tell you everything. You will then understand who I am." The next day the sky was gray and rain fell slowly. Gilbert came, quiet and serious. I gave him a small book, my diary. "Read this," I said. "Then you will know the truth about my life." He looked at me with surprise. "You trust me with this?" he asked. I said, "Yes, but promise you will not tell anyone." He promised, and I began to speak. I told him how I first met my husband, Arthur Huntingdon. I was young, only 18. He was handsome, full of charm and energy. Everyone liked him. My aunt did not trust him. She said, "He is not a good man. He will break your heart." But I did not listen. I thought I could change him with my love. I believed that love could fix everything. When we married, I was happy. For the first few months, he was gentle and fun. We went riding and dancing. He made me laugh. I thought he was perfect. But slowly, I began to see his true nature. He liked drinking, gambling, and laughing at people. He had friends who were rude and careless. I did not like them, but he said, "They are just having fun. Don't worry so much." As time passed, he spent more time with his friends than with me. He came home late at night. Sometimes he was drunk. When I asked him to stop, he laughed and said, "You are too serious, Helen. Don't be boring." I felt lonely even when he was beside me. When our son was born, I hoped things would change. I thought a child might help him grow up. For a short time he seemed happy. He said, "Now I have a son to carry my name." But soon he became restless again. He drank more, shouted more, and treated me like a stranger. He did not care about our son. Sometimes he would make fun of me when I tried to teach Arthur good manners. One day, I saw him giving wine to our little boy. He said, "He must learn to drink like a man." I took the glass away, but my husband laughed and said, "You cannot stop me. He is my son." I felt a sharp pain in my heart. That was the day I began to lose all hope. His friends often came to the house. They drank and sang loudly. I stayed in my room with Arthur, trying to keep him away from their noise and bad words. Sometimes I heard them talk about me and laugh. It hurt, but I stayed quiet. I thought patience might help, but it did not. Then came the worst part. My husband started to flirt with another woman, Lady Lowborough. She was beautiful but cruel. She liked to see men fight for her. I saw how they looked at each other when they met. One evening, I walked into the room and saw him holding her hand. My body froze. I could not speak. He smiled as if nothing was wrong. Later, when I asked him about it, he said, "Don't be jealous. You imagine things." I wanted to leave, but I had no money and nowhere to go. The law said a wife belonged to her husband. I could not take my child without his permission. I felt trapped. I prayed every night for a way out. Then something changed. One of his friends, Mr. Hargrave, came to visit often. He was quiet and polite. He saw how unhappy I was. One day he said, "If you ever need help, call me." I thanked him, but I did not trust him fully. Later, he showed his true face. He said he loved me and wanted me to run away with him. I was shocked and angry. I said, "Never speak to me like that again." From that day, I avoided him too. I realized I could not depend on anyone. I had to find my own strength. I started to paint again. I sold some paintings secretly through a friend in the city. I saved every small coin. I knew one day I would need that money to escape. One night, my husband came home drunk and angry. He shouted at me, threw my books, and broke my paints. He said, "You think you are better than me, but you are nothing without my name." I cried all night. In the morning, I looked at my son sleeping beside me and made a promise. I would not let this man destroy us. After some months, he became very ill. His face was pale, and his hands shook. The doctor said he had hurt his body with drink. I cared for him, though my heart was tired. He said sorry many times, but I did not believe his words anymore. He was weak, but he had not changed. When he got better, he went back to his old life. I knew it was time to act. One day, when he left for a hunting trip, I packed my things quietly. I took my paints, my son, and a little money. We left before sunrise. I felt free but afraid. I did not know what the future would bring. I went to a small town far away. No one knew me there. I found an empty house called Wildfell Hall. The walls were broken and the windows were old, but it was safe. I used my saved money to fix it. I began to paint again and sold my work to earn a living. Slowly, I built a new life for my son and me. When I finished telling this story, Gilbert sat in silence. His eyes were full of sadness. He said, "Helen, you are brave. I did not know you suffered so much." I smiled weakly. "Now you know why I cannot let people get too close. My heart is still healing," he said softly. "I will not hurt you. I only wish you peace." His words were kind, but I knew peace was hard to find. The past always finds a way to follow us. The next weeks were calm. Gilbert kept my secret. He still visited, but less often, because he respected my wish for space. But one morning, a letter came. The handwriting made my hands shake. It was from my husband. He wrote, "I am very ill. Please come back. I cannot live alone. I need you." My heart felt heavy. I did not love him anymore, but I could not forget that he was the father of my child. I looked at my little boy and thought of his future. I knew I had to make a choice. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I will go back once more." The letter from my husband stayed in my hand for a long time. I could not stop reading it. The words were weak and full of fear. "Helen, I am dying. Please forgive me. Please come back." For many minutes I sat in silence. I looked at my son. He was playing with his small wooden horse. He was happy and safe. I thought about what I should do. My heart was tired, but I knew what was right. I had once promised to love and care for my husband. Even if he had broken my heart, I could not turn away from a dying man. That night, I prayed. I asked for strength and courage. In the morning, I packed my things again. I told my little boy, "We are going on a journey." He smiled. He did not understand why. We traveled for 2 days to my husband's big house. When I saw it again, my heart felt heavy. The windows were dark and the garden was wild. The place looked empty and sad. I walked inside holding my son's hand. A servant met us at the door. He looked surprised. "Madam," he said softly, "the master is very weak. He has waited for you every day." I followed him upstairs. My husband was lying in bed. His face was pale, and his eyes looked tired. When he saw me, tears came to his eyes. "Helen," he whispered, "you came." I said, "Yes, Arthur, I came." He tried to smile, but he was too weak. "I was cruel to you," he said. I was blind and foolish. You were right, and I was wrong. I drank too much. I hurt you. Please forgive me. I looked at him for a long time. I felt sadness, but not hate. I forgave you a long time ago, I said quietly. He closed his eyes. I don't deserve it, he whispered. For many days, I stayed by his side. I gave him medicine, helped him sit up, and read to him when he could not sleep. He was often in pain, but he tried to be gentle. Sometimes he cried when he saw our son. He looks like you, he said. Promise me, Helen, you will teach him to be good, I said. I promise. At night, I sat beside his bed, listening to the wind. I remembered the happy times before everything went wrong, when we were young and full of dreams. Life had changed us both. I no longer loved him as a wife loves her husband, but I pitied him deeply. One cold morning, he called my name. I went to his side. His face was calm now. Helen, he said, I see now how empty my life was. You were the only one who truly cared. I thank you. He took my hand and held it tight. Then his eyes closed. He took one last breath and was gone. I felt no anger, only sadness and peace. I kissed his forehead and whispered, Rest now. Your pain is over. After the funeral, I decided to stay a few more weeks to put things in order. I sold some of his things to pay his debts and saved the rest for Arthur's future. When everything was done, I went back to Wildfell Hall. The house looked the same, gray, old, and quiet, but now it felt different. I was not hiding anymore. I was free, not just in body, but in heart. I had done my duty. The past was behind me. For many months, I lived alone again. I painted every day and watched my son grow.